Welcome back. The next guitar that we're going to be talking about is one I wanted to do the unboxing for, but I was too busy for the unboxing. And so what I did was I just unboxed it and didn't record it, but it gave me a good week or so to play it and get comfortable with it, so I can now talk about it with having experienced it, with some time under my belt with it. And that is this. This is the Squier Classic Vibe 70s Jaguar in surf green. It has the tortoise pickguard. So let's talk about this. It runs about $450 in that ballpark. The one I have is in surf green. And let's go over some specs. The body is poplar. The neck is maple. The neck binding, it has really nice neck binding. Let's see if you can see that. That neck binding is in cream color. It has, the neck finish is tinted gloss urethane. The neck shape is C. The scale length is 24 inches. The fingerboard material is Indian laurel. The fingerboard radius is 9.5 inches. There are 22 frets. The fret size is narrow tall. The nut material is bone nut. Let's see, what else? The position inlays are white perloid block, and so you can see that nice big thick white perloid blocks, and you have one on the first fret. The electronics, we have Fender designed Alnico single coil pickups, and then it has everything that a traditional Jaguar would have control wise. We have, starting from here, neck pickup selector. The middle is the bridge pickup selector. And then this switch right here is a bass cut, a low cut switch. So even when you're on the bridge, you can click that up and it cuts a lot of the low frequency out. You have your standard tone and volume, and then up here what we have is the rhythm circuit. Now the rhythm circuit it engages, when you engage that and flip it up, now we're up here at these controls. These controls don't matter anymore. We're on these controls up here. And what it does is it engages just the neck pickup, and you have a tone and volume wheel. So, how this can be applicable is you configure your selection if you want to have all the pickups and do the tone, you want to do the low cut. You dial in your tone with these here, and then you have this, and you dial in your tone and your volume for this. So that way when you have it up, you are now in this rhythm section on the neck pickup. So then I could play some rhythm parts, and then I could flip this back down, and now it's jumping down to these tone preferences for lead. And so you could see how that could be useful, instead of having to select your bridge and neck pickups separately down here on these three controls and then dial in the tone separately. This allows you to just have this with tone and volume separately from everything else, so that you can have both tones dialed and then flip back and forth in between them. The tremolo, vibrato, what it should be called, is your standard Squier. It does not have the little locking lever switch button thing right there. But you can get, from what I've heard, I haven't done it yet, but you can get a Player Series Jaguar trem bridge, and it should be an even swap out. While the Player Series, though, is a threaded arm, this is a push. So that's the difference there. And like I said, I haven't done anything. This is still stock from out of the box. Everything I've done with it so far has been stock out of the box. It still even has its plastic coverings on all the chrome pieces and on the pickups and the pick guard. I still have the sticker on here. I've not done anything to it. It still has its strings that it came with. And the strings that it come with are 9s. So everything has been out of the box, including the music that you will hear on this video. It's all done with this guitar, stock. So now let's go over some things. We have the split shaft, vintage style looking tuners. We have a single string tree. We have what I believe is the Mustang bridge, which is kind of cool that this is here. Now the thing with this is the individual saddles do not have height adjustment. You have to adjust the entire height of the bridge itself, not individual saddles, which is fine. I actually don't have a problem with that. It's pretty cool. The radius is set, so that's kind of nice. Now let's go over some opinions that I have of this out of the box. I was very impressed with this guitar. I didn't have any issues with it. So I consider myself lucky in that regard. The setup was good. It was playable. I'm looking at it now, and it does not have crazy high strings. The setup is great. I don't have a lot of buzzing notes. The feel of the fret ends, I'm comfortable with it up until I go past the 12th fret. Then I start to feel a little bit of snag on my fingertips. A little bit though, not a whole lot. The setup was very good with very decent action. I mean, I don't think I will change that. I don't plan on doing any kind of adjustments on that when I make some alterations later for a later video. I'm going to keep the setup the way it is, because it to me it was perfect. It was so playable. It feels good. I have no issues with this guitar. I did notice, and it might just be the fact that they're new strings. After quite a bit of playing, the strings and quite a bit of playing, and of course I'm using that trem arm. I'm wiggling this wiggle stick for a lot of surfy stuff. And occasionally it's usually the low E string drops out of tune just a little bit, and then I tune it back up. That's to be expected. I think it will take some time to stretch out the strings and see if there's any further tuning instability issues. See if anything is caused by bends and the trem. And that's the other thing. I didn't even check the intonation yet, so I will do that later at another time. But when I don't know. I'm considering putting a little bit heavier strings on it, and doing some things, but that's for a later video. We'll talk about that later. But I haven't checked the intonation at all. I will tell you that the position of all the saddles, if we look here, they are incrementally increasing, and then at the G, incrementally increasing. So I would say that someone intonated it. And how well they did it, I don't know, because I haven't checked it, but I haven't had any problems. I've just been playing and having fun with it. Again, I'm very impressed with this guitar, because there were some review videos I saw and they're like, it's a toss-up, 50-50, and of course that's going to also be with the condition that people got their guitar in. Did they buy it off the wall at Guitar Center, where a bunch of people have already played it? Did they get it out of the box and it was one that didn't get as good of a setup? Or was it one like this that got a great setup and there's no issues with it? That's why all the reviews vary online so much, and I was hesitant for it, but I will say this, I got a good one. I got a good one, and I'm very happy and impressed with it. So, having said all that, I guess in my next video I'll be able to peel all the plastic off of all the bits and pieces, and we'll go over the intonation to see how well it is. We'll replace the strings, and I'm considering replacing the trem for the Fender Player trem. But for now, this is great. I've recorded some music just to give you some sound samples, but in the meantime, let's actually plug it in and give it a test spin. Okay, so I have my Fender Mustang 2. The amp modeler that it's on is the 65 Deluxe Reverb. No, I'm sorry, 65 Twin Reverb. And then the effect that it has on is the 65 Reverb. So, let's have some fun with it. I'm going to turn down, I don't have the amp mic'd, you're just going to get it from the camera microphone. And I'm going to turn down the camera microphone for my playing so that I'm not crackling your speakers. Well, hello. Hi. Are you gonna stay in here with me? Okay, okay. Yay. Um, so yeah, my thoughts on the classic vibe 70s Jaguar by Squier is that I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Um, and I'm very happy with it. I mean, if I loved this so much, I would love to get my hands on a real a real Fender Jaguar and see what that's all about. Because I mean, this is just an absolutely great guitar. If you've ever considered Jaguars, get this, give it a try. Because I mean, it's been my daily player here in my office. It's been my go-to. I just keep picking it up and playing with it. It attracts me more than the Meteora does, than my Strats do. This has been my daily player, my daily noodler. So give it a try. I mean, you could gig with this if you wanted to. Absolutely. I mean, it has Fender designed Alnico pickups. I mean, this is great. Just a good amp, whatever tone you're going for, go for it. Now, you're going to hear actual recorded footage, recorded audio that I did with this guitar. I just made some simple tracks. You might have already, depending on where I put it in the video, you might have already heard some. But here's a kind of a full track, because I did the surfy thing, right? You get a Jaguar, you do the surfy thing, so you've heard those tones. So I'm gonna end on a track that I did fully with this guitar, with the exception of obviously the drums and the bass. The bass, I used my Squier jazz bass, and all the guitar, the rest of everything is just this guitar, all the guitar parts. So give it a listen, and we'll outro on that. Until next time.